Hello and welcome. Perhaps we can start today's episode with reading a quote. And so I'm just opening up my Twitter application and I use I mentioned this before, but I use social media as almost as a spiritual practice. So if you look at my Twitter account, most of the people I follow are those with a spiritual background. There are spiritual teachers in there. So whenever I do dip into, Instagram or Twitter, it's often filled with quotes and those posts by those individuals of a spiritual background. So let's just scroll through and see if there's a quote that comes out to me here. So let's read a quote by an author called Neil Donald Walsh. And he's the author of the Conversations from God books. And I do have one of them that I plan to read at some point as well. And this is the post he has given us. Life itself is nothing more than energy, vibrating at particular and various frequencies. I'll read that again. Life itself is nothing more than energy, vibrating at particular and various frequencies. And immediately what comes to mind is the impersonal of how life is not personal, but to our ego, everything is personal. Everything, there's a reaction to everything. There's a disturbance to any change that's coming in. And it's clear how disruptive life can be when it's covered up, when that spaciousness, that one energy that Neil Donald Walsh is talking about, that vibrational energy. Everything is vibrational frequencies. We go down to our bodies or any object. With a microscope you'll see the vibrations happening. And even a deeper form, something we can't see, is the deeper vibration than even the physical. The vibrations that are beyond our senses. And there's an impression of how simple, how peaceful that way of being is. And it's not something you have to build up to. There's not a skill you have to acquire. It's a letting go, it's a surrendering. When you let go of something, there is less of that. if we're holding, 5 shopping bags, with each shopping bag there's many items, and each item has meaning, has memories. Holding on to so much. And what happens when you let go? It's all released, and what remains? That is something for you to answer. After last week's episode, I mentioned, we're 50% through of the book A Miracle of Mindfulness. And after I stopped recording the episode, I turned the page again, and I realised that the second half of the book are meditations that Thich Nhat Hanh has shared, various meditations for different activities and his words of wisdom. So in a sense, this, the reading of this book is finished, and it didn't seem to make a lot of sense to read all of these individual meditations simply because they were quite short. And so I will go through a select few today. I'll just scroll through, and whatever stands out I will share in this episode. But if you would like the collection of meditations that Thai has included, then that could be read further in the book, to get a copy of the book. But that made me smile, thinking, okay, we're halfway through, but really the body, the main part of the book was finished. It was just many sort of meditations that you can pick and choose and dip into and practice when the need arises. So this means that in the upcoming episode I will begin reading A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle's second book. And people have said, who have read both books have mentioned that perhaps A New Earth may be more kind of user-friendly, to lack of a better term. With The Power of Now, there's it's quite a structure of questions and answers, and but with The New Earth, I believe that things are more in a way where it's a bit more reader friendly, so it's easier to comprehend and go. I'm sure there's a depth to it there. It's delivered in a perhaps more in a orderly way, perhaps, than The Power of Now. So especially for those who are just venturing into, spirituality or this path, then A New Earth is perhaps a book that may resonate more quickly than The Power of Now. And I'll mention this again in the upcoming episode, but there is a recorded audio with Oprah, so Eckhart and Oprah together go through each chapter. They summarize and discuss each chapter, so perhaps that's something that we can also do together after we've read each chapter. We can perhaps listen to the audio as well, and perhaps I'll use will remind you of that once we come up to the end of each chapter to listen to the audio, and perhaps I can leave a link to that in the podcast description as well. Something we can do. So I thought we can dip into the meditations that Thai has left for us. And I believe he's written an introduction to them as well, which I can read. Yeah, so he's titled it Exercises in Mindfulness. Here are a number of exercises and approaches in meditation which I often have used, adapting them from various methods to fit my own circumstances and preferences. Select the ones you like best and find the most suitable for your own self. The value of each method will vary according to each person's unique needs. Although these exercises are relatively easy, they form the foundations on which everything else is built. So the first meditation is titled Half Smile When You First Wake Up in the Morning. Hang a branch, any other sign, or even the word smile on the ceiling or wall, so that you see it right away when you open your eyes. This sign will serve as your reminder. Use these seconds before you get out of bed to take hold of your breath. Inhale and exhale 3 breaths gently while maintaining the half smile. Follow your breaths. And I'm going to share the one straight after it as well, which is called Half Smile During Your 3 Moments. Anywhere you find yourself, sitting or standing, half smile. Look at a child, a leaf, a painting on the wall, anything which is relatively still, and smile. Inhale and exhale quietly 3 times. Maintain the half smile and consider the spot of your attention as your own true nature. So I'm just scrolling through the meditations just to pick out 1 or 2. And perhaps I'll share this one as well, because music is such a a global kind of subject. So it may be helpful to hear this one. And it's titled Following Your Breath While Listening to Music. Listen to a piece of music. Breathe long, light and even breaths. Follow your breath. Be master of it while remaining aware of the movement and sentiments of the music. Do not get lost in the music, but continue to be master of your breath and yourself. And here's another one. Mindfulness while making tea. Prepare a pot of tea to serve a guest or to drink by yourself. Do each movement slowly in mindfulness. Do not let one detail of your movements go by without being mindful of it. Know that your hand lifts the pot by its handle. Know that you are pouring the fragrant warm tea into the cup. Follow each step in mindfulness. Breathe gently and more deeply than usual. Take hold of your breath if your mind strays. And this meditation is called a slow motion bath. Allow yourself 30 to 45 minutes to take a bath. Don't hurry for even 1 second. From the moment you prepare the bath water to the moment you put on clean clothes, let every motion be light and slow. Be attentive of every movement. Place your attention to every part of your body without discrimination or fear. Be mindful of each stream of water on your body. By the time you've finished, your mind should feel as peaceful and light as your body. Follow your breath. Think of yourself as a being in a clean and fragrant lotus pond in the summer. And I think I'll leave it there. So there are, of course, many, many more meditations that Thich Nhat Hanh has shared with us. And again, he's mentioned that he's adapted them from various methods. And it's ones that he uses himself. And so it may be a great idea to go through those and maybe pick out, even 2 or 3, so it's not so overwhelming. Because you can imagine there's a lot to remember if you were to read and try and actually practically do all of them at once. So that was the book, The Miracle of Mindfulness. And it may be a good time to, as I hear some music being played upstairs, in the apartment upstairs. I'm not sure if that can come through, if that is coming through in the recording. But if it is, and you can hear some background music, just allow it to be. Maybe there's some annoyance there of, there's some disturbing music that, is disturbing me listening to the recording. And even this is part of the practice as well. It's just to be aware of the voice, who is talking, who is making this comment, who is annoyed. So, even the very small things, you can, do a very simple self-inquiry and simply ask the question, who is saying this, or who is annoyed in this moment, and go through that experience, follow that path and see where it leads. And so I'll end the episode here. Thank you for joining me, and as always, I wish you well in this present moment, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Take care.